Well, as we return today for two huge matches in Manchester, I have to be honest and say we're having a bit of a wobble. We're struggling, particularly away from home at the moment, and it's affecting us in all competitions. Add to that some key injuries and the fact that people are unhappy for the first time in a while. And this is going to be a slightly testing period in our tenure as Southend United. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 122 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. Today we go away to Manchester twice in 3 days as we face Manchester United in the Carabao Cup fourth round. They're led by Maurizio Pochettino. And then in the Premier League, just a couple of days later, we face Zinedine Zidane's Manchester City, who left second place Aston Villa of last year to join them. So two very difficult games on the road, and our away form combined with our injury news does not make it any easier. We're also struggling for goals consistently, and the clean sheets have dried up too. It's a lot of bad combinations at once. If you're looking forward to seeing how we get on, then please do chuck a thumbs up on it. But for now, let's go over to the schedule and look at what's been a short but fairly disastrous spell since you were last here, because you were with me as we drew 0-0 against Villa and lost 1-0 at Borussia Dortmund. Now, the positive news is we've scored in every game since. The negative news is the defensive record has really dried up, and that's in part due to the injury to Rakowski and others in midfield as well. So we did manage to get a victory in our next game, but it was tense. A 2-1 win, a comeback victory at home to Bournemouth, one of the poorer sides in the league. Wills and Herbert got the goals for us as we nicked it via a set piece. You can see Ashley Carr picked up a knock there, but it wasn't too bad. But overall, just nothing that's that convincing after the two games we'd had before on camera. It then got even less convincing in the following two matches because away at Arsenal, we did get a goal back as soon as we conceded at the start. You can see Ethan Waneri open the scoring. Vasquez scored from the kickoff, and then we went behind again and never came back. Away at Inter Milan in the Champions League, we lost by 4 goals to 2. It was a horror show first half, as I think you can see. By half time, we'd lost Vasquez, Robertson, and Memic. That Vasquez injury is 3 to 4 months. He is not going to be back anytime soon. And those who came on did make a bit of an impact, but we just weren't good enough at the back. We did, though, respond against Leeds United with a 4-1 win, but even that wasn't convincing. We went behind before a dodgy penalty, saw Kranic equalise before the break, but then off the bench in the second half, it was Teddy Ivanov to the rescue. 2 for him, 1 for Ryan Adamson, and a victory that in the end looked far more comfortable than it was. So going into these two games, and then incidentally Spurs in the Champions League, I'm not feeling entirely confident. My only positive is that after these two, most of the next 7 or 8 are at home. So this is going to be the week that's quite decisive. We said that this spell might be deciding our season. We're just about in the mix when it comes to Europe and when it comes to Premier League football at the minute. If we go and look at the competition screen, we're 3 points off the top of the Premier League as Sheffield United continue their run, even though they've now played some top sides. Newcastle are up there, Arsenal, United clawing back, and in the Champions League, we are all the way down in 24th with 1 win from 3. So there is a lot riding on the next few matches, and particularly this Carabao Cup one. I've talked before about the fact that we haven't won this trophy, and I want to win them all before the end of the save. It looks like most of the big boys are going through. One of Arsenal and Spurs have obviously gone out as they faced each other, and the same will apply for us and Manchester United. But otherwise, it's pretty much the big boys, isn't it? Sheffield United, Manchester City. We'd expect it to be Villa. We'd expect it to be Liverpool. It's only really the winner of Forest Pompey. But then even Forest are 7th in the league at the minute. So let's go and get through the fixtures and start off this double header. I should mention as well, in addition to that, there are a number of injuries. So if we go and have a look at them at the minute, Rakowski's been out 4 weeks. He's still got a week to go. He got injured on international duty at the start of this month. Ukulano got injured in the last game at the weekend. He's going to be out for a few weeks yet. And then Luis Vasquez is out for 3 to 4 months after that injury against Inter. Add to that on a dynamic screen, Ukulano complaining he wanted to start more games. Started one, got injured within half a match. We've then got Bernberg moaning about his contract. Kivrakidis moaning about the role he's playing in. It's just stupid things that are kiboshing us at the minute. And unfortunately, we have to deal with it because the only time we've had a brilliant run in this save for half a year is when we didn't have anything there. And that's now not going to happen. Let's go and get through to the team selection though, because I want to go strong in the Carabao Cup, but it does go against a lot of my instincts. Manchester City are coming up in 3 days, then a big Champions League game. I don't think we can afford to take liberties here. So as much as I want to win it at some point, I do have to rotate. The Carabao Cup is still the least important competition of the four, and I can't change that for personal preference. So let's get this team cleared, pick our 11. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. Right then, we're going to have to start being quite careful now with how we manage a couple of positions, because in wide midfield with Robertson and Adamson, they are the only two we've got fit. We may have to use Kranic as an emergency on the right and Curly or Carlos on the left again. We've done that before. In the rest of the team, we've gone pretty much backup. We've got McNaughton in goal with Aguiman and De Angelis the fullbacks. Sanchez joined by Mexican teammate Vite for the first time. He is improving massively in training. He is playing well when he's coming on, so hopefully he'll do the same today. We've got Robertson and Adamson, the only fit wingers, with Jimenez and Kivrakidis in the middle. Ivo Torres is back. He's been playing, and maybe I'll take over that box-to-box slot now, with Kara and Ivanov up front. I mean, pretty much all of our strikers, I think, bar Kranic, yeah, they're on 4 for the year. No one's really got going yet after 2 months, and not many people have stayed fit the whole way through. It's one of those frustrating seasons where we've just had broken spells of form for people. As soon as someone's looked good, they've got injured. We've had to overplay people because there's only one fit in a position. We just need that to end. And if we could do so, even by winning a Carabao Cup, it would just take the pressure off. But this team, if Manchester United go strong, I'm not sure it's enough. Let's go and find out if I'm right. Well, it's 5 Manchester United changes, and while it's a very good team, it's one with a younger look to it. If you look at the players that he's given a rest, Inverts, Mainu, Gusto, all originals that will be 30 plus now. Trubin the same in goal, dropped out for Verbruggen, who's still good. Sarpay has been a thorn in our side several times before, but they've still got people like the skipper, Georgiou. But I think it would be fair to say both teams have rotated quite heavily. So as backup teams, who's the best of the rest? I guess the difference is, for the large part, we've got our first team on the bench. They've got youngsters, but I'm sure their youngsters are still pretty good. And we've not got our best ones like Kranic, or the 3 or 4 who are injured. Casey Worcester, probably no better than any of their bench. So let's get into the first half against Manchester United and hope we can avoid a drubbing at Old Trafford. Well, we're only 6 minutes in and we're back with United streaming down the left-hand side, though Aguiman does really well to win it back. He has had a solid start for us, to be fair, but I say that he gives the ball away and he's not had a consistent partner in front of him on the right. As Adamson picks it up in the middle, he does drift left and De Angelis familiar to him, but instead he finds Ashley Carr, looks for the ball back to Adamson. I think the left back's played him on, and that's probably why the shot was saved. If he was off, I'm sure it would have nestled in the top corner, but not to be. It's still 0-0, but the first big chance goes to Southend as Adamson puts it in. Aguiman loses out. And that'll be the end of the danger. A positive start after the last few games. Hopefully, we can make it count. As Aguiman's got a throw on the right again. The pressure is building early from Southend. And you do think, with the heavy match loads on the bench, can this team get us 2 or 3 up? I'm not sure it can, as Ivanov goes wide. De Angelis into Adamson. Through ball to Ivanov. Oh, he shanked it. He was offside anyway. I don't know. Maybe Adamson was trying to shoot and just misguided it, because he was in a very good position. With 20 gone though, it's all Southend. My worry is what happens in this situation when we have to do the defending at the other end, because these two centre-halves have never played a game for Southend together before. They've played one together for their nation. As Ivanov goes back to the fullback, at the moment, they're not being tested. Once they do, will we come under scrutiny? As Ivanov goes back to Vite. Good on the border centre-half, finds Aguiman. And our new right-sided defence is doing well as he finds Robertson. Support down the line, but back to Vite. A nice little spell of possession. Just dragging United out of position is fine by me. In the end, it's got to come to something, and we're being forced backwards. But as long as we're in possession and doing all right, we can't complain, and we can't concede. As Ivanov looks for Adamson, that's poor. Though so's that back pass. Ashley Carr nicks in. He's been given a gift, and unlike most of last season and the one before, he's taken that gift. He's accepted it. Good finish, Ashley Carr. Terrible defensive back pass. And it's 1-0 Southend. We deserve it over the course of the game, but the manner of it was definitely a surprise. As with half an hour on the clock, we're back with Aguiman taking a throw-in. We've looked really good so far, as again right on cue we lose it. Stop saying positive things, please. As Muscat looks forward, Vite does well. Adamson can't get there though, and they're in again. No, Kivrakidis wins it back. Ivanov goes wide to Adamson. Carr's making a run. There he is with support on the right from Robertson. It's a good ball. Can York Robertson make something of it? Into the box, is deflected away. Probably an inch from going through to Ashley Carr as Aguiman delivers another one towards him. Ashley Carr's up and scores. Really good play from Ashley Carr, who's getting fit again after that injury. I just want him to have a great season. He actually won World Under-21 Player of the Year. But he's not really shown consistency, which is perhaps the issue. Although Vasquez was second in that, and he didn't really kick a ball for us from the start last year. As Jimenez picks it up in the middle to Robertson. Through ball to Carr on a first half hat-trick. Ashley Carr just wide. Not quite as confident finishing from that right-hand side, is he? We're 10 to the break. This has been pretty much as close to dominance as we could have hoped for. And maybe it's the same old lesson, isn't it? Fresh legs over quality. We've got quality in this team, but it's nowhere near our first 11. And where we've tried to go stronger in Europe, it's only ended up costing us. And I say, very happy with that. Keep it up in the second half and hope that it doesn't lead to complacency. We can see 2 subs from United already. They're going to be making adjustments here. And we just want to get a third or fourth so we can then look at our wingers, give them a break. You can see the 2 wingers are 2 of those who are performing more poorly than the rest. Just because they're knackered. They're playing every minute. As Georgiou gets the ball back to Vega. Support alongside, but he's playing along the back. Can we nick it? Just nick the ball and get a third, or are we going to be beaten by the press? We have been. Jimenez gets there, finds Vite. It's great defensive work. But I'm not confident, even at 2, with the way we've defended recently. Ivanov can't get on the end of that through ball as Ashley Carr tries to turn provider. It's a long old highlight. It's got to lead to something. And it's Aguiman flying down the right now. Big ball to the back post. Teddy Ivanov's up. And it's in. Great header. Beat Verbruggen. I thought it was going over initially. But it's in off the crossbar and the post. It's superb work from the Bulgarian. And I've got to be honest, in our recent matches, Leeds and now this one, he's been a bit of a lifesaver. He deserves big credit. Aston Villa are losing to Norwich, so there might be one big boy going out. When we get to the final 25, we are going to make changes. Adamson's knackered. Robertson's not going to make it. He's got to be fit for the weekend. So we'll go, do you know what? I'm going to go Roy Curley on the left. I'm just going to get on someone who we don't need to worry about fitness. Casey Worcester would be another option, but he can't play on the right. As a result of that, I've got to look for an alternative, but I'm not sure where we get it from because Aguiman can't play right midfield. And neither can any of the other players. Joe Wills could maybe do it for 25 minutes. Do I chuck him out there? I think it's my only option. Robertson off, Joe Wills on. He'll go out there. In midfield, we're okay with how we're doing at the minute. Ashley Carr maybe needs a rest, but I'll give him 10 more to try and get a hat-trick. And then maybe it'll be Memic for Aguiman soon because he's playing well enough that he might get in the 11. For now, though, I'm not going to make too many adjustments because we've been really efficient. Jimenez is struggling a bit physically, so we might take him off as well. It'll be Jimenez for Ivo Torres, who continues to build his fitness. It will be Aguiman off for Memic at right back. And then it will be Ashley Carr for Casey Worcester. A few of the very much fringe players getting a run out here. 4th and 5th choice centre-half. Casey Worcester getting a rare game. Curley even rarer. But we tend to go. We've done the damage already. It's been a really good performance. And maybe this year, for all of my frustration in the league and Europe, maybe it will finally be the one where the Carabao Cup comes in. If that's the case, I'll take it. A very comprehensive win. Now let's go and see who we're facing in the last 8. And then go to the Etihad to face the other half of Manchester. Well, let's see who we're getting then in the Carabao Cup quarter-final draw. Should we watch it through? We're going to do it. Let's go and see who we face. We'll start the draw. We'll do it at ×3 speed. And we will hope that we're going to get someone magical. It is Norwich. I'll take that draw away from home. Is it going to be us? There's Bristol City. There's Pompey. I'd take both of those as well. Norwich have drawn Liverpool. Second tie. I mean, I just want to avoid Arsenal and City. Sheffield United, I'd like to avoid away. Bristol City would be a perfectly acceptable draw. They've drawn Sheffield United. Now, I guess a lot of the big boys are playing away from home, but I am worried that there's still Arsenal and City here. Please let them play each other and we'll have Pompey. Manchester City versus Portsmouth, which means we've got Arsenal. Home or away? Please be at home at the very least. It's not. We're going away to Arsenal. Why do they want us to not win the Carabao Cup? Every year, year after year, the draw is terrible. Arsenal in the Carabao Cup quarter-final away from home. After already going to United, it is every year away from home against the top sides. Absolutely infuriating, honestly. And it might have to change the plan for the next episode because we were going to do Bayern and Newcastle. We might have to turn that into a quick triple header, mightn't we? Let's go and get ahead to the City game then. We've avoided them in the Carabao Cup. That's no crumb of comfort when you see the alternative. Let's go to the Etihad and see if we can keep up our improved form in the Premier League. Well, we're featuring in the early kickoff on Saturday, and just as things were improving, we then get a Joe Wills injury, and right after I let Casey Worcester play in a youth game because, well, we weren't going to need him this weekend. So we're going to be a bit short in terms of strikers, but let's see what we can put out. No Erling Haaland starting for Manchester City. I think they've finally moved on now with Zidane. The only one of the originals in the team is Rico Lewis, who was so young when it started. Again, he's probably still only in his early 30s. Let's go and see what team we can put out, though. It's going to be heavily rotated from this. You can see in the backup team now, even so many heavy match loads. We're going to have to adjust it and get it right, but we're going to make the best of a bad situation. It's about all we can do for now. Well, it's far from ideal, this. I'm chucking an injured Joe Wills on the bench. We've got literally no idea what we're going to do out wide in midweek. Maybe Roy Curley will have to play the Champions League game. Maybe De Angelis and Carlos, I don't know. We've got largely heavy match loads despite resting most of this team midweek, but a lot of the minute loads aren't quite as bad. We've got Soren Hansen really struggling for form in the middle. You can see his rating this season. Him replacing Rakowski has been a big part of our struggle. The rest of the team knows okay. Kranic is in his less preferred target man role. And the midfield two is going to stick with Torres alongside Bernberg as well. So the 11 in full, Sadler in goal. All change at the back with Memic, Hansen, Herbert and Carlos the back four. The two wingers have to stay in because they're the only ones fit, but Bernberg and Torres are in between them. And Ashley Carr, after his show in midweek, will stay in up front, but he's alongside Dion Kranic, with Joe Wills missing out due to injury. Through to the Etihad, we're staying in Manchester, but will it be two good results in a week, or will we slip further away from the top of the Premier League table? Well, here is the team, as you can see, and there are 5 changes for Manchester City, as Zidane's starting to pick up after a slow start now. Sandy Arthur still high quality. Pablo the striker will be a threat. Van der Voort is an original player on the bench, and if signed Arda Güler, who must be past his prime. Gibbert is as good as any of our strikers, and he can't get in a team, which probably tells you how good Pablo is. And as we mentioned, Rico Lewis, the original, remaining in defence. Let's tell the lads to prove a point. It's been a good season so far. We've had a disappointing spell. We looked like we were coming out the back of it against United, and we're still in the mix for everything. If we can produce a good performance today, the confidence may well be restored. And we've got an early corner with Kranic to the back post. Herbert off the bar and then just sort of hits the keeper. I don't think he had any idea where that was going, but he's kept it out. And in the end, he looks a genius, as it's another corner from Adamson this time. Will be an in-swinger from the opposite side. Left-footed towards Bernberg, who loses out. And Jorg Robertson can recycle it. Can he get another cross in? To the byline on his weaker foot, in towards Ashley Carr, who loses out. Adamson cutting in on his left. Great save by the keeper. What a start it's been, but we cannot find the goal. And now we've got another corner to try and take advantage of. Can Herbert get on the end of this one? He can't. A brilliant start for the City keeper. With 4 gone, he's made 2 key saves already. Well, I've got to say, it's taken a very similar pattern this game where we've dominated the stats and the chances early on, but against United, we then found the opener and were able to push on. Here, City are starting to turn the screw, and they've now got the higher expected goals just from that one shot from distance. So with half an hour on the clock, it is starting to turn, and we do need to be careful here. It doesn't help that we've not got our star target man out, and it doesn't help that most of our midfielders are unhappy. But Jude Sadler is always there to try and deliver, and that is a great save from the free kick. Behind for a corner kick, which will be taken left-footed. Ramoso looking for plenty of options in the box, but Hansen and Carlos combine. They get the ball away. I take 0-0 at half-time because we've lost momentum in this match, and it is about keeping a little unbeaten run going. We scored a few against United. Just give me the draw. I'll take it. Half-time, 0-0. Good performance. Let's ask the boys to prove a point. The strikers struggling in their current combination. Might need to be Teddy Ivanov to the rescue for the 3rd time in a row. Well, almost an hour on the clock. We're starting to think about changes, but first we've got to deal with City, who are rampant down the left wing here, though Kranjic wins it back. Not the best pass into Hansen, and I won't breathe a sigh of relief till this ball is cleared. Memic gets it at right back to Bernberg. Had a better season till he threw his toys out the pram. Now he's back to his old self as Carlos gives it to Adamson. Carlos again looking into midfield, but he's forced back to Herbert, the skipper. And we're just passing it nicely along the back without really going anywhere. That ball out to Robertson was quite poor, bit floaty, allowed pressure on him, and now we've lost it. This is the problem against a team pressing high. You can't afford a poor floaty pass. And then what are you doing, Memic? What are you doing? Where was the need for that? It was so unnecessary. There was no pressure on us. Oh, he's flown into one. It's absolutely stupid. And now I've got to think about what to do. I've got to get a right back on with Aguiman looking nervous. I'm going to take off Ashley Carr. I've got no choice there. Need someone with a bit of height up front, which will be Kranjic. He'll go as the advance forward in the middle. And then Adamson is really struggling physically. So to give a little bit of attacking support, I'm going to throw on Teddy Ivanov, I think. And we'll put him further up on the left as maybe an inside forward. Just ask him to attack. Drop Robertson to a support duty while that happens. And maybe just hope that's enough. It's going to be difficult either way. But Armin Memic from nowhere again. What is it with the big game curse? It's back again. It took most of FM24 off. And now it's back with a vengeance as Lewis throws into Suarez. Rico Lewis again over on the right now. Chance to cross is a good delivery to the back post. And that's where we've lost Memic there. But to be fair to him, Aguiman did enough. And now with 20 to go, I just want to hold on. We'll make some more subs in a minute. What do I do with Robertson? What do I do with Kranjic? It's tough to call. We're going to go out and look at this after Rico Lewis into the box. What a save, Sadler. He's keeping us in for a point here. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put Kranjic on the right. We're going to go 4-2-2-1. And I'm going to chuck Joe Wills up front on his own, I think. And I know he's not quite fully fit. The other alternative is actually what I might do. Instead of bringing on an injured player, let's put Ivanov up front. We've done that before. Robertson can stay out on the left, but then we'll go for Carlos and then move De Angelis to left back. He comes on. Carlos will be a winger on support, which he did with great effect last time. Kranjic will be a winger on attack. And Ivanov will be through the middle. It's not vintage. It's not ideal. But we're trying to find solutions here. And at the moment, I'm hoping this might be the one. 20 to go. We're holding on. And now a draw would be an unbelievable result. Well, there's just 10 minutes remaining, and I think we've got to gamble it because Kranjic is knackered, Bernberg the same. Going to bring on Jimenez in midfield just for a bit of extra bite with Torres switching over. Nearly call him Roberts for some reason. And then have I got anyone who can go on the right? Only Joe Wills who's not fit. It really doesn't stack up well for us, does it? But I'm going to need Kranjic midweek. That's the trouble. I don't see a solution here. So I'm just going to leave it at 4 subs. We're just going to leave it. And we'll see out the final 5. I would be absolutely thrilled with a 0-0. And if we get near 90 minutes, we're going to start time wasting. But we've got a free kick to deal with. Where are the defenders? Carlos is in there. There were 4 City players unmarked. It doesn't matter for now because we're breaking away. That's a horrible touch, Torres. He had a chance to play Kranjic in there. Jimenez might have the same to Ivanov. That's got to be a foul, referee. He's not going for the ball, that's for sure. Godfrey down the left. I'll be so upset if we concede now. We had 2 chances to score. It's up to Pablo. Gramoso's there. Sadler does really well. I mean, it would have been unjust if we'd broken away and scored, but it would have been the perfect away defensive display there. The Sadler gets it to De Angelis. Now a chance to break downfield. Out to Carlos, who plays the 1-2. De Angelis again, forced backwards to Herbert. And into midfield. Here is Carlos. We've seen him star in this position before as Jimenez looks for Kranjic off the right. Dion Kranjic is in. And the flag goes up. Oh, I thought he'd done it. I thought that was the moment. But when the assistant's flag goes up, it's normally disallowed. So I'm not going to get excited about this one. The hand does go up. It remains 0-0. But you know what? City are pushing and it's leaving space in behind. 5 minutes added on. Anyone's game this. We've still managed 5 shots on target. And although we haven't finished this episode with a goal, I am far happier than I am in the last episode because that performance in the circumstances was good. Defensive resolution was back in both of those 2 games. and we got through in the Carabao Cup, albeit another stinking draw. It's 20 points on the board. It's not perfect. We're starting to push on, which is great. Well, Armin Memic will now, of course, miss the next weekend game, so he will feature in the Champions League in midweek. Make sure that he keeps his match load up. We're going to certainly not appeal that because it was a stupid tackle. Jude Sadler made 7 saves, always the hero when we need him. But let's have a look at the schedule, because our double header that we'd planned for next time to finish the week will now be a triple header, because we are going to come back for Bayern at home in the Champions League, Newcastle away in the Premier League, and now Arsenal away in the Carabao Cup after another stinking draw in that competition. That is the triple header. It will be all football next time before we then focus on a January transfer window on the occasion after that. But for now, if you did enjoy this one, 2 clean sheets and 2 good performances in Manchester, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments if you've noticed the return of the red card curse in recent weeks, or is it just me suffering from it this season? If you want to stay up to date and find out if we avoid it and avoid defeat in a triple header next time, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. In the meantime, you can find links in the eye above to the football podcast, the Twitch channel, and our other main story, which is the Coach's Head. We're currently in Denmark in that one. It's been a fun old season, so come and catch up if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time to finish our week at Southend United with a huge triple header across 3 competitions.